Instagram.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, you guys? Tonio wasn't ready as always.
Didn't know she was going
How
out
is
that quick.
everyone? Happy midday explosion. I am so excited. I'm so excited that we have Brian backstage. He is ready to give you a ton of knowledge. He's ready to share. We're gonna talk about some taxes today. We're gonna talk about staying on your goals, staying abreast, and y'all ready? I'm ready. You ready?
Let's go.
Let's go, you guys. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe. If this is beneficial, know. Make sure you share it with them. Don't be a hoarder of information. Sharing is caring, as I tell my kids. And let's go.
Sharing is caring.
What's up? I am so excited. Tony, are you excited?
I'm ready,
You
man.
thought I was gonna say what's up, what's up, what's up again.
I did.
You guys, let me know who's on. You guys drop some. Tell me who's all on. Brian, what's up, Brian?
What's up, fam?
How
y'all doing? I
I'm
am
doing
lovely,
good.
man. I am lovely.
I'm ready, man. I'm geek, man. I'm ready. Go to the
All right,
I
let me
see.
close the
ahead.
door. Let me
set up.
close this door right quick and
Miss Hard as you ready, baby.
What's up, Miss Hardy? Absolutely. Make you guys like and share
I
with
don't want
others.
I don't want to have all those outside noises of people bringing us all that money because we do taxes so well. So I had to close the
I
door.
know that's right. Because it's tax season,
baby.
right?
It's hump season right now.
Yeah.
So Brian, tell
Yes,
me, tell
ma'am.
everyone, who is Brian? Because you just said it's tax season, you shutting your door. So what's all that about?
All right, I am Brian Jubert, aka Rich Boy, the tax guru, the tax strategist. I'm actually going into this would be my 26th year going into the tax business, man. I know I look a little bit over 26, but yeah, I'm a little older than that. I just started young. I started young, but I specialize in business and real estate taxes. And again, like I said, my whole passion, man, is really to educate people in this tax game. Because the crazy thing about it is that we deal with taxes every day. I don't care if you're an employee, I don't care if you have a job, I don't care what your situation is, you have to deal with taxes. And so that's one of the areas that we lose in our community, especially in our community, because we're not educated on it. And so everybody always talk about how much money you can make, how much money you can make. You can make this amount of money. But if you're giving the government 50 to 60% of it back, you're not winning. So I always tell people, don't be hashtag winning. Don't be hashtag winning if you're giving it back. And so the goal is to keep it. The goal has always been, if you followed me for years, if you followed me people who've been knowing me 20 years will tell you my whole principle been, I'm not impressed with how much you make. I'm impressed with how much you keep. Because I've seen a lot of people make a lot of money, But if you're giving it all back, then who is it benefiting? It's not benefiting you. And that's why most people can't live their quality of life, because they're so busy giving their money back to the government. It look impressive on paper, and we know a lot of people that basically make 6 figures, 7 figures, but every time you say, all right, let's do this trip, let's go. Oh man, a little rough, right? This is the first of the month, because they didn't give half of it back to the tax man, and so we got to learn how to play this tax game. You got to learn how to play this tax game. So I'm a tax strategist. Like I said, in the game, 26 years, originally from New Orleans, man, came to Atlanta. Been an entrepreneur all my life. The longest I've ever had a job was 11 months. I've never really had a job. I've always been an entrepreneur since I was 13 years old. But I understood this tax thing at a long time ago. And taxes have financed a hell of a lifestyle for me. Because I tell people the money that I save from taxes is the money that I use to invest and to travel. And with those two things, I've been able to live a fulfilled life early on, because I kept more of my money. And if I keep more of my money, if I keep 80% as opposed to 50%, that's 30% that I can put into life insurance, to investing, mutual funds. And then my passion is travel. So if you understand how to play this game, it frees up so much and it creates freedom, and that's the whole goal, is freedom, financial and social freedom.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. When I first started real estate, everybody always talked numbers. They always talk how much I made on this flip. I made $40,000, $50,000. And at one point I was believing it, just to be honest with you. But it wasn't until I got a little more experience, I start, what's the net number? How much you putting in your pocket? How much after the tax, man, after you paid everybody off, what's going in your pockets? And if you really dig deep and you talk to a lot of flippers and guys who are making that their first business is flipping houses, they're not netting a lot of money. They gross a lot of money, but they're not netting a lot of money. And that's the one thing about business. You got to make sure you're focusing on that net, not just that gross number.
I've noticed most people don't even know how to get to the net number.
Ooh.
But most people don't talk about the net number. That's why we always in trouble, because nobody ever mentioned the net amount. Everybody talk about how much they made, and but society has programmed us in that way, and it programmed us and it crippled us, because everything that you do is based on your gross. And so when you buy a house, they say you can afford this much house because this is what you make. So they give you a house based on $150,000. So that means now you got more house than you probably can afford, because you only bring home $90,000. So again, you got a house based on 150, but you bring home 90. So now you got way more house than you need, because you qualify for that. Same with cars. Oh, well, you can get the such and such version of that car because you make 150. But again, now you didn't got the XL, the CL, the LL, and all these with that car, but you really bringing home, half of what you make. But you didn't got the most upgraded car. So now you basically doing everything on your gross, but you're living on your net. And you wonder why. People wonder why they can't make ends meet, because it'll never add up. If I never add up.
They never.
Because most people, the mindset is I make 150, I spend 170, and I bring home 90. I tell people, I tell people always take 10 minutes. Take 10 minutes if you want to, and add that up and take that equation and find out how can you make that work out. I'll give you 10 minutes to work that out, and you couldn't. And that's why we're losing right now, because we don't understand gross versus net.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Now, you said that your passion is traveling. I know somebody just got into the States yesterday. So where do we go? Come on, give us a road down memory lane.
I did 4 countries. I did 5 cities in 4 countries. I went to Brazil. I started in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. I'd been to Brazil before, years and years ago, but I had never been to San Pablo, and I really love it there. I love the culture. The scenery is beautiful, man. And then from there, I went to Rio. I stayed in Rio about 4 days, and then I left Rio and went to Uruguay. So stayed in Uruguay a couple of days, left Uruguay, went to Argentina, and then from Argentina to Chile, and then finally came back to this ghetto place. We ghetto in America, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we ghetto in
Brian
America.
got back.
But that's a whole nother show, though. That's another show.
Right. He said, I'm mad that I'm back in the States, by the
I'm
way.
mad I'm back home.
I'm a little mad right now.
That's why
Oh,
everybody's
man.
seeing that uproar in Brazil right now, in Rio, and it's because I left. And so
I
they
know
had a
that's
big
right.
old uproar and riots and stuff in there, though.
All right. From a tax standpoint, a lot of people that follow us, a lot of people that listen to us, they are new to investing. They are new to that world. They don't have much knowledge. So for that type of person who haven't bought their first property yet, or maybe they got 1 or 2 properties, what would you tell them to help minimize their taxes from that standpoint?
Well, the first thing I tell most people, if they got 1 or 2 property, even if they have one, you got to have some type of accounting system. You have to have some type of account. And I'm not telling you go out and get the latest and the fanciest software for accounting, but you got to get some type of accounting system when you start getting properties. And even if you just got one, if it's in your personal name, you still need to keep up with how much you spent out, how much your repairs, how much you spent on contractors. All of those things you want to track. You know, you can be more effective with those properties when you track, when you know where your money's going and you know where it's coming from. So that would be the first thing I would tell people to do is first track something. If it's Excel spreadsheet. Now, again, it's hard to be a landlord, a contractor, and all those things, and try to be your accountant and bookkeeper too. So try to find somebody. But if you can't afford it at that time, then create an Excel spreadsheet and start tracking something. You know, track everything that you spend. And then what I would tell you is legitimize it as a business. Legitimize it and don't bootleg it. Because see, when you start legitimizing it, the tracking system becomes easier. And it comes easier from the standpoint of when I create a business, more than likely, if I create an LLC, I'm going to get a business bank account. If I get a business bank account, I'm going to get an EIN number. I'm going to have to get an EIN number with that. I'm going to have to actually get probably a business debit card. And then I would strive to get a business credit card. And then if I use all my repairs, all my maintenance, all my contract fees, and I put it on my business debit or my business credit card, everything is being tracked for me. So really, I'm creating an accounting system in that way, because I can go to my statements and all of those transactions on that statement should be strictly for my rental property and my business, because I'm only using it for that purpose. Well, and I say only, supposedly you only supposed to use that. So don't be out here saying, oh, I got this car. Let me go to Kroger's and get me some grocery, on this card. And now you got a bunch of, you didn't got your tires rotated on the card, and you got all these different things, and so now, you create a problem. But if you do that, it makes life so much easier. And then even putting it under the business, you have extended deductions that you can take for that rental property as well.
All right, hold on. Don't go too far.
Wait a minute.
Don't go too far right there. All right.
I need you guys to I need you guys to share this.
Yes.
If Brian's giving game, I need you guys to put fires in the chat. I need y'all to have high energy. I need y'all to come on, let's go.
If you know a business owner, man, this is for them. Share it, man. You can't get this type of information just on the streets anywhere, man. This is like foundation steps to being a successful business owner. Right?
Let's go.
All right, you'll go. That
was
my question.
Give me no, because Brian was really into it. Brian, give me one deduction. Come on, give me one.
Well, one of your main deductions when you got a rental property, you're gonna either buy appliances or you're gonna buy stuff for it, or either repairs. Repairs is probably gonna be your number one thing. It's gonna probably be the number one thing. And this is why I'm telling people now, you got to start dealing with more legitimate companies. And I understand we got Willie from the block. You know, Willie from the block gonna do some repairs, he gonna do some stuff because Willie's real cheap. But Willie don't take no credit cards. He don't want you to give you no receipt. He ain't giving you no invoice. He ain't doing none of that. You know, and so what happens is when we start dealing with them bootlegs and now we try to make moves, it's hard for you to make moves because ain't nothing documented. You know, and so we have to look at the bigger picture. Sometimes, yeah, you're gonna save a few dollars with dealing with Willie from the block. And I'm not saying maybe if you got little minor things, but when you start trying to do bigger things, because see, the ultimate goal is growth. The ultimate goal is successful. And when you're trying to grow and be successful, most of the time, things going to have to be documented. People going to want to see stuff. Yeah. They're going to want to see documents, or if it's going to be geared towards your return, those returns going to have to match what you've been doing and all of those things. So we got to get out of the habit of trying to bootleg and get around and get over. And see, again, this is why positioning is so great with this, because if I get positioned, I got a business credit card, I'm probably not going to be as scared to use a legitimate company because I got the finances through financing. You know, and so now I get points, I get the, you know, and so now I'm a lot more legit. And if I'm legit, I probably can make more moves that's going to get me to another place.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. That was like game. When we first started investing, I kind of had an advantage because I got an accounting degree. So I understood a lot of those things. And it wasn't, Ashley didn't really understand it.
Not I.
And I would do our books. And I would go and I would tell her, babe, we ain't making the money you think we're making. And it didn't register to her. And I'm like, babe, don't forget about the bus pipe. Don't forget about that property was vacant. Don't forget about the plumbing or the AC went out. So she kind of wasn't looking at those things. And I'm looking at the books and I'm looking at the numbers. And I'm like, babe, we are not making the money you think we're making.
Brian, all I knew was we had 8 rental properties, and in my mind, I was between that and my job, I was making over $80,000 a year. So when I was applying for credit cards, that's what I was putting, 80, 90,000 a year, because I'm like, well, just adding up the gross. This is how much. I'm like, this is how much we're making. That was not
so far from the truth.
And it made my heart like just stop a beat. When I found out the truth, I'm like, oh, this is too much. Then I got a problem.
Yeah, and that's usually the case. You know, even after the fact you find out, or either when you're trying to make moves, then you realize, oh, well, you know what? This ain't like I thought it was. You know, but I know y'all on the right track, because again, I see you go to the events. I see y'all at seminars and conferences, getting the information, getting in the right place. And that's the start right there. Nobody really, I ain't gonna say nobody, but a lot of people don't do that. They don't go where the information is on how to run their business properly, you know, and so they don't get to hear these things, because with 8 rental properties, you know, you had a fault. And if you got all of them under your personal name. And like I said, we're not going to get into a whole lot of it because we want to save it for the conference. You know,
we're gonna get too deep. But just know, everything you can do wrong,
we did it.
We did it.
Yeah, may have did it twice because we didn't realize it.
Just know we did it. So, man,
but y'all bounce back and y'all know now.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do. And it came from experience. It came from learning. That's one of the things that I like. Unfortunately, I like taxes because I like money. So I understand that in order to keep my money and make my money, I got to save my money and not pay it all back to Uncle Sam. So I will say that is one thing that I am cursed with when it comes to understanding taxes and doing those type of things. You talked about being in the room a little bit. Talk about that a little bit more and how important that is to somebody that's just starting out in their business.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said, what was it?
With being in the room. You talked about being in the room. Tell let's talk about from a newbie perspective how important it is to really get in the room.
Oh, that's so important. And when you invest in yourself, that's the greatest investment you can make. Is investing in yourself. When I hear people say, well, a home is the greatest investment you're going to ever make, that's the biggest investment you're going to ever make when you purchase a home. No, your mind is the biggest investment that you should be making. Like,
Absolutely.
And that's what being in a room develops. So when you're in a room and you go to the seminars and you go to all of the different things and you learn, your mind is being developed. Because see, with the house, you know how many people purchase a house and struggling and hate when the first of the month come around because they got to pay a house note? I know a bunch of people hate when the first come around, they got to pay a house note. It's a lot of people basically that's house rich and cash poor. And so the house, basically, if you're in a struggle situation, the house is not a great investment for a lot of people. They wishing they was out of that house. But if I go to a seminar and I go to conferences and I learn how to make money, I learn how to get money, I learn how to gain money, I learn how to grow money, I can probably buy a house cash free. And I don't have to worry about what's going to happen at the first of the month because people in that class are talking about it and doing it as well. So being in the house, man, and being in the room is so important because it's not even about the people on stage all the time. It's sometimes the people you meet in the audience.
Absolutely.
Are the greatest asset. And so that's why you got to go to events, man. You got to go to seminars. You got to go to all of those things to further your knowledge, because and I always said, and I said this years ago, success leaves trails. And the one of the things I've learned years and years ago was I got to go to seminars and conferences where the people that I'm trying to emulate are going. So when I was listening to the Les Browns and all of them, and they was talking about how they put, they was talking $100 and something thousand aside to do conferences every year to go to seminars. And, I'm hearing people. So my first thing was years ago, I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put $25,000 aside a year to go to conferences and seminars and invest in my knowledge. And then what I found is one dude told me one thing at a seminar years ago about pricing. And I think that one conference helped me make 3 times as much as I put aside for the year. And that's how important being in the room can be. You get gems that can catapult you to a whole nother level.
Man, I went to one conference, and like you said, it was the people that's in the room a lot of times that can really give you knowledge and really expand your mind. And I was talking to a dude at a Rich, not what's the Dan Merrill, at a Dan Merrill event, and he told me that money is a tool, and the people that use money to make money have a different mindset than the people that use money to pay their bills. And that stuck with me so deep, and it was like, wow.
Yeah, but now I'm gonna give y'all something on what this supposed to be for my mastermind class only, my mentorship class. But money is used, and the reason why you have a big gap between the haves and the have-nots, and you see some people successful because what you just said, like poor and unsuccessful people, they think money is used to pay bills. Like your low income, they think money is used to pay bills. Your middle class people, think money is used to purchase stuff, to buy houses, cars, material stuff. Rich and successful people, they believe money is made to make more money. And so the mindset is totally different. So this is why you see successful people consistently grow, because even if you change your mindset to that, they believe that money is used to make more money. It's not to pay bills. It's not to go out and buy material stuff. It's for the sole purpose of making more money. And that's through investments. That's through life insurance. That's through creating wealth for your future. And so that's why, again, it starts with the mindset. And most people in our community, we believe that we make money to pay bills. And if you do that, you're going to have a continuously cycle of paying bills.
So to my people that's watching, what's your mindset? Are you looking at money as a way to pay bills? Are you looking at money to buy things? Are you looking at money to be a tool? Which category do you fall in? And I think a lot of times you gotta have an accountability partner to ask you these type of questions to test yourself and to really see, hey, how do I look at money? What are my actions saying? Am I using my money to just pay bills? Am I using my money to just buy houses and cars and liabilities? Or am I investing, whether that's investing in me or investing in life insurance, like Coach just said? How are you looking at money?
So, look, I just had a conversation. This reminded me so much of my conversation that I had with our 7-year-old this morning. And I needed gas before I took him to school. So I pulled up to the gas station and he's like, Ma, you know what? A gas station is a good place to work at. And I said, excuse me? He was like, well, just listen. Every car needs gas. And I'm like, nah, baby Tonio, like that's not how it works. A gas station is a good place to invest in. You can be the owner of a gas station. So I think just like I'm telling my kids this every day and reminding them, because society does train you that it's okay to work and that it's okay to pay those bills and be in that cycle, you have to remind yourself and you have to change the trajectory so that you know that it's not okay. There's a different type of life that you have to have. And it starts with changing your mindset and being exposed, getting in those rooms, being around people who know more than you, being around people who have experienced more than you, and not just around your same clique, because your same clique, Pookie, Lele, they ain't accomplished nothing. So you can't be around them.
Ooh, that's a tough one. If y'all got questions for Coach, drop your questions in there.
Brian.
I call him Coach. He said he got a mentorship. So if you got a mentorship, you're a coach in my book.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But know what? You mentioned something, and that's why mentorships and coaching is so important. And somebody said that last night. I did a call for my other class. I have a class where I'm teaching people who's trying to get in the tax business, the game. And one of the things that people really have to understand is, and one person said, it was like, I just don't understand why your class is not overflowing, why your mentorship mastermind class is not overflowing, given the fact that, how people feel about you, how they see and sincerely doing things. And I was like, well, again, it's a mindset shift. I think people really not getting it. And we always talk about it starts at home. And realistically, it don't start at home because I can't show what I don't know.
Right.
So when we have parents that don't know about this, how can they show their kids? See, your child is at an advantage because y'all are successful. Y'all in the real estate game. Y'all understand finances. You understand growth. You understand wealth. So your kid is going to be in a position where they can win because you feed them this. But the average person don't know this. And so they can't teach their kids this. And this is why you have to get into mentorships, because we always say, and I used to say this on my live, people say, well, our parents didn't teach us about money and finances and life and all. And I say, well, that's fine. I say, but if your kids say the same thing about you, you're a bad parent.
That's the problem.
You're a bad parent.
Right.
Your kids shouldn't be saying that about you. Well, my mama didn't tell me about this, because you should have known better. And if you don't know it personally, there's people like me, there's people like you, there's people like Ramon, there's people that out here that's giving information, and so what we do is feeding people, and that's the thing, is that we really got to understand, we got to get out of that little box that we in, and we got to stop basically reaching mediocre targets and thinking we're winning. And that's where the mentorship and coaching comes into play, because I'll check you on that, and I'll check, like when folks telling me like, oh, well, I make 20,000 a month. I mean, I make 20. I mean, when they talk about like, I make 150, I make 150. And my question always comes back like, a month, because when you start getting around people that make six figures, high 70, 80s, and things like that a month, then that 150 don't seem like that. So what it does is it pushes you out of that comfort zone, because see, you get comfortable with the 150. You get comfortable because everybody around you is making 110. So you believe that you're killing the game because you're doing better than everybody around you. And I always ask people, and I ask myself, who are you comparing yourself to?
Oh, yes.
Who you're comparing yourself to. So you have to really look in the mirror. And that's why coaching programs, being in the room, having mentorships is so important, because you're going to get challenged. You're going to get challenged. If nobody's challenging you financially, you ain't going to grow.
You ain't going to grow. All right. I got a real estate. I mean, not real estate, but a tax question. What are some changes from last year to this year when it comes to taxes? What are some things that have changed? Some deductions have went up, went down, have been taken away. What are some of those things that will affect the average investor?
Well, folk better get ready. It's going to be a lot of disappointed people. And I say that because refunds are going to go down tremendously. Like, a lot of people was getting big refunds the last 2 years. That's going to change. It's going to change because all of the laws are going back to its old ways. And a lot of people benefited from the stimulus. Because last year, they did a lot, man, for people who have children, especially with the child tax credit, with the daycare credit, with the stimulus payments. All of those things basically had people getting an additional $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, sometimes $8,000. Which now, if you didn't make no adjustments throughout the year, because see, you didn't have to have a lot of taxes taken out if I'm getting all those credits. Because if I'm getting all those credits, that's going to offset me not having enough taxes taken out. But now I don't have all them credits to hide behind, and I don't have enough taxes taken out. I didn't make any changes throughout the year. Now you're going to be exposed, meaning that your refund is going to be significantly smaller, or you're going to end up owing a bunch of money. And so that's one of the major changes, that those credits, especially for people with kids. One of the other things too, if you didn't, you hear a lot of people talking about your car, writing off your car, and you can actually write off your car 100%. For 2021 taxes, you were able to do it at 100%. This year, it goes down 20% to 80% now. You can write off 80% if you purchase a new car. And if you don't do it this year, it's going to go down to 60% next year. So it's going to go down 20% for the next 5 years to is at zero. So that is not going to hurt people, because you still get 80%, but you're actually losing out on 20.
Okay.
So that's
when it comes to like that car, like there's a buzz number, like it's got to be 6,000 pounds or something like that. Educate me on what does that mean when it comes in that car world and deductions and all of those things.
Yeah, well, the purchase have to be business related. It has to be used for your business, and it have to be over 6,000 pounds, and you have to use it more than 50% of business use. And most cars,
I didn't know that.
Especially if you buy SUV, that's going to automatically be over 6,000 pounds. So, do your research. Do your research and just make sure that whenever you purchase, it's over 6,000 pounds.
Frank said, so they just bought these Benz G wagons for no reason.
Reasons. It's always a reason behind it. It might not be a good reason, but it's a reason. So it might be for stunt purposes. Yeah, it's for stunt purposes.
Oh, man. All right. So remember, bring your questions. If you got questions for Coach, bring your questions. I'm gonna ask all the questions. I ain't gonna lie to you because I've been waiting on this. So if you don't ask them, I'm gonna answer.
I'm gonna ask one before he starts. How about that? Make sure you make sure you share this with others that you may know that need to know, because it's tax season, so that they don't get caught up in a sticky situation. All right. Brian, tell me
Yes.
what sacrifices have you made to get to where you are today? Because people think you're supposed to get rich, it's supposed to be overnight, and it's gonna be quick. Was that the case?
And that's the thing, is that I always say we do a horrible job of showing the grind before the shine, and it's sacrifices in there. And I put a post out probably a while ago and said people don't even realize how many times I didn't take a salary to pay my staff. And that's probably one, because see, we all talk about wanting to grow. You can't grow if you are a one-man operation. It's going to be hard for you, because you can only do so much as a human being. You only have so much time in a day. So you're going to hit a wall. You're going to have burnout. So when you hear burnout, you hear people say, oh, you got burned out, because you're trying to do everything yourself. And then the craziest thing to me was when people was turning away money because they say they had too many clients, because they couldn't take on no more clients. And I understand that, because you're by yourself, and I'm glad you stopped. But my thing is, I ain't never turning down no money. I'm going to find a way to put people in place to get the money. So if I got to sacrifice some stuff to basically bring on a team, and they'll tell you, I'm going into my 26th year in the tax business, and pretty much for at least 22 years, 23 years, I had staff, even starting out, because I sacrificed everything that I wanted to do. I sacrificed in the beginning, like I remember my partner saying, I always use this, my partner Herc always say, we had went back to New Orleans one year. And this is when I had the Explorer, but I had 3 locations. I had 3 locations at that time. And I had an Explorer. And I wasn't tripping, because I was like, I always say it's not my time to go out and get a Benz, to have a perception. And he was like, bruh, like we were talking, I said, bruh, but I said, they don't even realize the type of money I have in the bank, I have saved up and blah. He said, bruh, ain't nobody gonna believe that. He said, when you pull up in that Explorer, niggas gonna be like, man, B ain't doing it like he say he doing it. But that was another sacrifice I made. I sacrificed the whole perception of doing well until, and I told people, I never worried about a Benz until I can pay a Benz note and didn't even know the note was gone. So when I was 35, I got my first Benz, and I was able to put $32,000 down. But that was basically from a sacrifice. I know cats doing that, and that's their last 32,000, just because they're trying to show a certain image, And so you gotta sacrifice, and that's why I love Ramon. And I hope y'all don't mind me shooting Ramon out though. But that's
Ramon coming on.
I love Ramon all day. That's why I love Ramon's podcast, Delayed Gratification. The name of his podcast is Delayed Gratification, because we got to understand that principle when we want to win. And so we got to make sacrifice. Delayed gratification basically means I'm putting some stuff on hold until I get in a better position. And so it was years. I ain't gonna say years, but it was times that I didn't take a salary to make sure that my staff got paid. And in 26 years, 25 years, I guarantee you nobody that worked for me told you Brian ever missed payroll. Because I'm gonna make sure that my team eat, because I understood my team was the reason why I can win long term. You gotta sacrifice those things. You gotta sacrifice.
Great. Yasmin, do me a favor. Shout out to Ramon. If you can find that link and drop it
in the chat. Drop Brian's on too in the chat.
Put Brian's on it, man. These are great podcasts. I'm telling you now. You won't be disappointed by watching those.
Absolutely. All right. So I got a question. So if I bought in my personal name right before starting a business, how can I make that car a business expense car?
Now, you can always take a car as, even if you buy it in your personal name and you're using it for business purposes, you still can take the write-offs. You still can take the mileage. You still can take the gas. You still can take the depreciation as long as you're using it for business purposes. Now, the beautiful thing about getting it under the business is typically you don't have as much problem with the IRS if you ever get questioned if they see it's in the business name, because it ain't no question. But if I get it in my personal name and I ever get questioned, now I got to prove a little bit harder that I use this car that's in my personal name for a business. But you still can use it for business even if it's in your personal name, because 90% of people basically still have their car in their personal name and they're using it for business. The Instagram reels make it seem as though like all you got to do is go to the dealership and say, put this in my business. I want to get a new car. And so y'all got to stay away from the reels, man. And because they make everything look so easy. And I tell people, like, I know a bunch of people that's doing reels on taxes, and I tell people I can pick all of them apart. Because what they do, they definitely make it look enticing, but they only give you the juicy stuff. It's just like a movie. The previews, they're going to give you the previews. Them previews going to be like, oh, my God, I got to go see that. I got to go see that. And when you, oh, my God, this movie was horrible. But they only gave you the 4 good parts of the movie. You know, they only gave you the 4 good parts of the movie. So, you know, you got to basically make sure that you talk to somebody. But even if you put it in your personal name, you still can take all of the business deductions. Documentation is key, though.
Documentation is key.
Okay. You ask a question?
Brian, what's your why?
What's my why? Right now,
Why do you do
this is I'm probably on my 3rd why now. I'm on my 3rd why. And my current why is really, I want to see my community win, man. I want to see people be educated. You know, I want to see us all eat, you know, all grow and not suffer. I always say it's a lot of people financially suffering in silence. It's a lot of people basically putting up a lot of fronts and images. And really, I want to dispel that and really have you be successful for real. You know, I hate the fact that people say, I live vicariously through you. You know, I live through your travels. Because the thing is that I always say, you can live my travels. You know, it's possible. It's not like I did anything that was different. You know, the backgrounds I came from, the things that I've done, you know, I just wanted more. So my why is really to see my community win, man, to see people grow, to see everybody eat, you know, to see them be able to leave a legacy for their children, their grandchildren. And the reason why I didn't say my daughter, because people always say, well, my kids is my why, because that's a given for me now. Like I've put things in place, you know, and this is why my life is so comfortable, because I've created so much freedom to where if anything happened to me, my daughter's going to be good. She's going to be good, you know, so I can live without having to worry about how she going to eat or what she going to have, you know. And so my why was probably her the second reason. My first why was my mom. And it's okay for your whys to change. You know, when I talk about this at my seminars, like my mom was my why growing up before I had my daughter. Like I wanted to make sure I do everything for my mom because I understood the sacrifices she made for me. I understand the shit that I put her through too. You know, and so my thing is that if I can create freedom for her, so it was a beautiful thing to basically have my mom retired, you know, and I had been trying to get her to retire about 20 years ago. So about 15 years, well, after Katrina, my mom didn't go back to work. And I told her that was fine because that's what I wanted for her. I got in a position where she didn't have to work because she had sacrificed so many years of work for me to make sure I was fly, I was cool, I was all these different things. And the one thing that really hit me, and I talk about this in my seminar, I'm not going to go into it too much, but and this is why is so important. This is the thing that pushed you is, and I always get emotional when I talk about this, when I was going back to college one time and my mom asked me, did I have any money? And realistically, I really didn't have no money. I probably had a little bit over half a tank of gas, and I'm going back to college, which I'm going back to Southern from New Orleans, which is about an hour and a half drive. And I didn't like asking my mom them for money because I knew that they didn't really have it like that. And so my mom came outside and she said, I got, if you need something, I got $10 if you want that. And I was like, nah, I'm good. And that hit me for my mom to see her only son, well, her only child, going back to college, and all she had to offer was $10. And I made a vow. I said, that was the longest hour and a half drive I ever had. I said, I'll never let my mama be in a position again where she only have $10. And if your why is not strong enough to say, well, you know what, I'm a grind because I'm not going to see my parents, my children suffer. You got to have that. I mean, that hurt me to see my mama offer her last. So that why, man, that why was unbelievably strong, because there was no way I could quit, because if I was quitting on me, I was quitting on her. And the thing is, she had never quitted on me. You know, she had never quitted on me. So the thing is, I could never quit. And then, not to say I didn't love my mom the same, but when my daughter came, you know, my daughter was my why, to put her in a position to where we talk about generational wealth. My daughter gonna be good. She's gonna be good, you know. And so my thing is, I wanted to leave her with generational knowledge first, because if I leave her with generational wealth, if I leave her with generational wealth, but I don't give her generational knowledge, she's gonna blow the wealth, you know. And so that basically transitioned. So once I got that in a position, it evolved. And this is why I talk about having a situation where your why have to be strong in so many different aspects, and your why can change. Your why can change, and that's the beauty of, you know, life, though, man. It's gonna change. It should change, to be honest with you, as you start to grow in life.
It should, absolutely.
That was a long why.
Frank said,
man, that was the one, though.
Frank said they don't tell you that the rates and payments are more in your business name. When you're getting a car in your business name, they don't tell you the rates and payments are more.
What was the next?
Yeah, and it's all in negotiation. It's all in negotiation. You actually have to be in a position where you're able to negotiate, you know, that. And it can be because they're taking more of a risk. So it will be, anytime you take more of a risk in something, you actually have a situation where it's going to basically, you know, create a little bit more for you. But the thing about it is, though, the reward outweighs the risk. Because if it allows me to start building business credit, if it allows me to start doing things to take out of my personal, that means I could free my personal social up. Because see, I'm gonna be limited. I'm gonna be limited in the things I can do and the growth that I can have if I start oversaturating my personal. So I'm gonna get to a point where I'm gonna hit a wall, and they're gonna say, well, no, we can't extend you any credit. We can't extend you a car. We can't extend you a loan, line of credit, internet, because your personal is maxed out. So I may have to pay a little bit more to get stuff in my business name, because I can get a better business write-off. I can separate it from my personal. And if I separate it from my personal, I can now do much more stuff under my business. I can go out and get much more money. And the one thing rich and successful people understand is you play with other people's money.
Say that again.
You play with other people's money. This is why you hear millionaires and billionaires always talk about going to the bank or getting investors. They work $250 million, $500 million, and they still go and get other people's money. You don't play with your own money. You don't sacrifice your own money. You know, and we're learning this as Black people, because we always say, I don't like to owe nobody. You know, but we oversaturated where we can't make moves. And so I'm giving them a lot. I'm giving them a lot of stuff that's in my mentorship and my coaching classes.
That's too, Brian. We're going to let's get this last question, because I know we're going to have a whole
you know, man, I'm about the people, though, so, you know.
Tanya says, is there any particular accounting software that you would recommend for people starting out?
Yes, QuickBooks. Yeah, QuickBooks. QuickBooks is probably the best over-the-counter accounting software that you can use, because it's the most economic, for one. And you got to play with it, though. You got to get in it, you know, and really learn it, because it ain't gonna just open it up and just start plugging stuff in. So you got to play with it a little bit. If you, I know I got a bad way of kind of phrasing stuff, though, but y'all think professionally, please. All right, but But what happens is though, if you're good with Excel and you don't want to make the investment or you don't have the time to learn QuickBooks, Excel is a great way to start out because you can create the different categories of expenses. You can plug it. It's going to run a running tab on each expenses on yearly stuff. So Excel is a great way to start out without having to make the investment. And then if you say, well, I got a little money that I can make investment with, you can get into QuickBooks, because the QuickBooks, when you send it over to your tax person, it's a beautiful thing when it's already laid out in all the expenses, the amount of money you made, and you just got to learn the different categories. And you can go to our website, lbtaxservice.com, and we have above the locations, there's something that says business deductions. And you can get a list of all of the different business deductions that you need to write off. But, I always tell people, don't make it hard. Don't make it hard. The one gift that I think I've had with business and taxes, I've been able to learn to simplify this when I talk to people and make it easy. And I listen again. I listen to all the influencers on social media, and they're having people who start out doing 100 different things. And most people don't need to do all of those different things when they're starting out. I hear people everybody talking about trust now. First of all, what you've acquired to put in a trust.
What you put in the trust, right? What you put in the trust?
You don't even have an LLC. You don't even have an LLC, and you asking about a trust. Like, you way ahead of the game. First of all, get a tax ID number. Tax ID number before you start talking about a trust.
Wow. All right, man. I know. We call ourselves the X Flippers, and it's because we understand something that a lot of people don't understand. That's capital gains, and we're gonna dive into capital gains more at the conference. So come to the conference, understand capital. Understand how to keep your money. We're gonna go a little bit more in depth.
Brian will be at the conference. Brian is one of our speakers at the conference. If you guys are interested in coming to the conference, we have more tickets left. I want you guys, if you saw this show today, I want you guys to put in the code Brian for 50% off. So BRIAN. Put it in. You can find the event on Eventbrite under the Sexy Flipping Conference. All right. So make sure you're there. If you want more of this, you want more of Brian, you want to be able to be in the room, ask him some questions, work out your scenario, make sure you're there. Don't miss it and ask for the replay, because guess what? I'm not giving you the replay because you should have been in the room. You got to make sacrifices sometimes to be in the room.
Yeah, and like I said, it's in Birmingham. So when all the people from Atlanta tell me, I thought it was here, y'all drive 2 hours to go to some bullshit stuff. If it was a concert,
2 hours.
Concert in Birmingham, or if you had a comedy show that you wanted to see in Birmingham, you would take a trip. So don't use those excuses. We ain't gonna start 2023 with all the excuses. You can't make excuses and money. So you're gonna have to make a choice.
I'm gonna go, man. I can't listen to no more.
Make a choice. And it's early in 2023 to where we have enough time to make adjustments, man. So do what you need to do to win. I'm not holding hands in 2023. Either you in or you out. Either you in or you out. And I tell people I've planted enough seeds. Basically, I've helped enough people. I've gave enough examples of success. True success, sincerity. So if you don't believe what I'm saying, if you don't think it's real or righteous at this point, I'm not trying to convince you. Either you in or you out. We gonna move regardless. And I tell people, I made money all my life. I'm gonna make money with or without you. I prefer to make it with you though. So let's all eat, man. Let's get rid of the excuses. Let's gas up and get to Birmingham.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Thank you for coming.
Thank you,
Brian. It was everything I expected it to be and more. I can't wait to the conference. I can't wait to sit down, talk a little bit more. I can't wait to see you on that stage, giving out that fire. What you got?
We'll see you in a few days, Brian.
See you in a few days, Brian.
Thank you. And two things before we leave though, I want folks to make sure that, because I'm about to start doing a lot more. So if you're not following me on Instagram, please follow me at Rich Boy Jupe1, RICHBOI JUP1. And then also go and follow the RB Solution Center because we're going to be doing a lot, man. If you don't know, like the building that I purchased, I changed it into a co-share space for small businesses to give you everything you need to be successful. So we're going to do everything to create solutions to the ills that we have in society. So follow and get your business address. We're doing virtual addresses. We're doing all of that. So, we just want people to win, man. So
let's go.
Yeah, go to the RB Solution Center. Go to the website, do a virtual tour. Check it out, man. Because we Black owning. And I tell people I don't have nothing against nobody else. I'm just pro-Black, and I want to see my people win. And if you're not Black and you need advice and information, we're gonna help you as well. But again, I'm gonna fight for my people.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, I love you. You're amazing. I'll see you in a few days. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your treasures.
Yes.
And I can't even tell you thank you enough. Yes.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank me. I'm putting together this international business conference to the islands. So y'all thank me by making sure y'all be there.
Deal. Let's do it.
All right, y'all have a great day, great week, great weekend, and I'll see y'all soon.
We'll see you soon.